Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in tonight on this Saturday evening, which is already almost end of the year of 2024. Today is 28th of December, 2024, 8:30 p.m. Malaysia time. And tonight we are going to talk about what is the upcoming January 2025 global trends forecast. And the theme for the month of January will be the month of follow the leader. So we shall see what it means by follow the leader and where did I get this theme from in the upcoming slides. In this platform, actually, we are applying both Chinese astrology and global trend research to focus on economy, financial trend, geopolitical events to help you to make better investment decisions, because we know that generally the market will respond towards all these factors. Okay, generally, I think maybe about more than 50%, because nowadays there are some parties that treat the market, especially the stock markets, like a casino. And we are not talking just about the stock. We talk more than that. We focus on also commodity base as well, how the general market, the supply chain of different manufacturings, this one that will impact the markets, because supply chain is actually the one that is the most important, that what happens up there, because what you see, you buy the product is only the last tier of the suppliers. Up there are many tiers up to the natural products on earth as well. Okay, so we will start today's talk agenda with introduction, and then we follow by a disclaimer, a brief recap of last month's forecast, which is December, the influence of the 5 elements energy in the January 2025. Okay, so mostly we will look at the 5 elements, 4 pillar charts for the month, and also how it impacts the global trends and the itching of the month as well, following the month pillar. And also PC will go through his section in very detail on his global trend research on geopolitical and financial forecasts, and to see whether it aligns to what I have seen or what I analyzed using the astrology trends. And finally, we will follow by summary for the month, the forecast of the month, January 2025. In this disclaimer, the content here tonight is actually purely based on our studies in the global trends related to 5 elements in Chinese astrology. For you to use as a guide in your investment decision, we always caution people that when you want to do investment, you have to do your own research on the company, on the stocks that you want to invest in such volatile situation. And we will not give any stocks advice. Additional supports can be found through email address in the members or in the members Telegram group. Plus, we have a group called Astrology and Global Trends, and this is already our 3rd year into this membership group as well. We've both PC and I founded the group. So for those who are new to our platform, I'm not sure, I saw a few new names, but most of them are already our regular followers of our work. So both PC and I is actually a global trends study, or we study global trends, but however, the methods that we study are 2 different methods. I use Chinese astrology, and PC will use his trend research through news and the research through all the medias in order to forecast what is the upcoming global trends. Okay, both of us are authors. So PC has several investment books before. So we have achieved actually very high accuracy in our previous forecast, about 80%, to help our member in making profitable investment, because we know that the market's trend generally at least there is about 70 to 80% correlation to how the global trends is to what is the global trends looks like. Okay.
So just to add, I put in the chat box where you can actually get our book, Unlock Your Wealth Potential, yeah, which we have a long-term forecast of 2024 until 2028.
Yes, that's right. So we have done quite a lot of research for the past 5 years. I think most of what we have forecasted already start to take place. It is even faster than we anticipated. Okay. And we also talk about, in that book, we talk about a lot about, what to invest in, what is the elements that you should look at and invest in, which some of them has already, gone up, the price has already gone up almost like double. Okay, for example, like crypto, we mentioned that in the book. And those that follow me 2 years ago, also, I already talked to people at the time to invest in crypto. Okay. Yeah. So let's recap on the month December 2024's energy. The month of December is a 丙子 month. Okay. A 丙子 month means that it's an opposing month pillar. That's why we have so many incidents that happens also in the month of December. Okay. Quite a lot of unrest, especially in geopolitical scenes. I'm so surprised that we should look at the news to see what happened. And then it's also month of nourishment. Okay, so everyone having their own agenda. So actually in the month of December, if you look back at my December forecast, I talk about double full wind chart. That means signifies the set events, the strong water elements, and also the innovation in AI and sustainability technology as well. Okay. So the nourishment will focus on how the AI technology, nourish us, the human race, how it impact us. Okay. So yeah, in geopolitical scenes, I think there's a lot of ongoings in December 2024. Syria, the president has, leave the country, flee. Even South Korea also having crisis, been one of the most peaceful country. Okay. And also France, the new government, it seems that there are no majority in the last France election. So there is a lot of political unrest as well, and also debts that is complicated. What are the next steps? Who will take over, France government?
Actually, in South Korea, it's because the wife is abusing her power.
Women again. Oh, really?
Yeah.
But why the president?
She's the wife of the president, so she abused her power and used her position to incur a lot of favors. So that's why they wanted to take action against her, but then the president stepped in. And as a result, they want to impeach the president as well for obstructing the law.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Actually, in Korea, in South Korea politics, there's actually a lot of ongoing behind the scenes. There also could be,
Yeah.
a lot of corruptions and all this ongoing one. It is not all robust one.
BJ say expensive bag.
Yeah, could be. Okay. So, and also in Hong Kong, also the same thing. Hong Kong actually is a good thing that, investors start to be optimistic about Hong Kong market. We talked about Hong Kong market actually 1 or 2 years ago, that the potential is there. Okay. I say the potential is there, but I don't say that, 100% that you should not abandon US market, because in these 20 years, it's just a transition of power. That's all it is. Okay. Yeah. And then in terms of weather actually is a bit strange. Instead of El Nino, we have La Nina winter coming in. So that means it could be like, a more extreme weather is expected as well. per what the chart has forecasted, some extreme, like you can see the sun on top and then the water below, so it will be like cold and hot as well at the same time. So in technology, in December, because everyone, I think most of y'all knows that I'm also into AI. I learned a lot about AI. In fact, I've been working with AI every day now. Okay, so in the technology side, we have seen a lot of development. The long-awaited Sora, because in OpenAI is already a it's a multi AI platform already. That means it can do image, can do writing and all these things. So this is what we call multi-model AI. Okay, can do multiple functions. So right now, Sora, actually they already announced, we already know about Sora beginning of this year, the long anticipated one, finally they launched Sora, that which can do video as well. That means you prompt ChatGPT for something that create a video, they will create a video for you. But be careful, I've got credit one. That means even I'm on paid plan also, there is a certain credits. I do not know that those that free plan they have or not. So and then also quantum computing, we have reached to a certain milestone, okay, in quantum computer, because definitely we will need quantum computing with the development of AI. These two goes hands in hand because we will need more processing power. Okay, AI is not just only on binary code, different already. Formerly the computing is only on binary, one or zero, like this type of coding. But now with quantum computing, we have the gray area, either black, white, or gray already. Then because AI is the one that mimics the human intelligence, so we will need the quantum computing's availability, the quantum computing's ability to also complete or make more powerful AI models now.
Actually, a lot of news was so excited about Google's 105 qubits quantum computer. But no one report China has already achieved 504 qubit quantum computer.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, because these are all Western world focused, man. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of opportunity also in China.
Yeah. So but just to recap, I think middle of this year we actually have a period 9 special session, which we share with our member. Indeed, we talk about one US company called Quantum IonQ. Is a quantum computing company called IonQ. At that time, I think its share price is less than $10. Today, IonQ, I think, is more than $40.
Yeah. Okay. So it's actually very technology based nowadays. Okay. So let's look at, next we will go into the next section, which is the month January 2025 energy, the highlight of one of the highlights of tonight's topic. So in month of January, it's actually a very interesting month. You already see the year pillar with Chen, and then the month pillar is with Chou. And moreover, the day pillar is also a jiak sheet. It's actually, this is the Li Chun chart. So the sheet is also here. So you can see all Earth, that means Earth is very strong. And then with fire, with the presence of the fire energy and with jiak sheet also, that's why the weather were expected to be, wet at the same time. Could also carries the snow because it's snow. So it could, whatever that's hidden, so it could sort of carry the wet and cold this one because it doesn't have another animal sign which has the fire energy. So that's why it's all in in wet and cold sort of situation. And then when we have a lot of earth animal sign, means that it's bullying punishment. So it will affect human sentiments also. It will create tensions and power struggles and suppress conflicts among leaderships. which I think this align with PC's forecast later on also on the leadership itself. Okay, and the earth is also not stable because there is also a sheep and the dragon presence together, although they are not side by side. Okay, but still there is something that is inside there that is not very very positive. Especially when I look at the next year's chart also, it also signifies this. This could be the seed that is planted for what will happen in next year. Then the metal and water week shows that there is also constraint in supply chain start. In fact, I think recently the Panama Suez Canal, right, PC, that
Panama Canal was not sufficient water, so a lot of the ships were actually waiting their turns.
Yeah, in Panama, right? I saw that
Yes,
also, but I
yes.
did not because already started the energy. Okay, so the not enough water, the water is already weak, it's already shown in the Panama as well. Panama is Suez Canal, is it?
No, Panama is in South America,
Oh,
linking Atlantic Ocean to Pacific Ocean. Suez Canal is linking the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea, which is in
Africa.
Egypt.
Egypt.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, Africa lah. Okay, that
yeah.
continent. Yeah, you have to cut through the route there instead of going down south and up again. Okay.
Yes, yes.
If you find this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more valuable insights and updates. By subscribing, you will be the first to know when I post new content.
Yeah. Okay. I will need to strengthen my geography. Okay, so in the month of January 2025, is actually hexagram number 70, which is following. Okay, we shall see following means what? Following is actually lake over thunder that goes with the flow. As you see, it's an image of a lake. This is actually a lake of Tui Gua. We call that for those who have some knowledge on Chinese astrology. And this is a Zhen Gua, means that thunder. That means thunder is underneath. And we know that lake water, already flowing one. Inside, is also vibrating the Zhen Gua. So it's like, the flowing according to the flow. So there will be, increment and align to external condition. Okay, whatever happens that inside, externally, they will try to, go with the currents, with the flow, so that the nations might adopt or follow the leader approach, aligning with dominant powers or global trends to avoid conflicts. I'm sure that we know what will happen in January 2025, especially for one of the most powerful nation in the world, which is US, where Trump or Republican is going to take over the admin of the US president's office, okay, or the admin of the country. And we will expect also the month of January, it will expect a bit slow, but steady advances still in technology and in social reforms. Okay, so yeah, and then I also go through the year hexagram as well in evaluation hexagram, which is also found in our book of Year of Woodsnake Astrology and Global Trend Forecast for 2025, which I also talk about it, that this year's year evaluation hexagram is Li Gua. It's a pure Li Gua, means that top and bottom you can see is pure. This is called pure Hua, when top and bottom is the same element. Okay, hexagram is made up of 2 trigrams. Yes, okay. So we have actually 8 trigrams. So here means that the first, we are in the first 9 line of this one, which signifies that the world might experience a period of uncertainty and disorganization, where footprints, there is a poem to signify this first line one. So footprints are running crisscross, indicating competing agendas and also overlapping paths in the international relationship, in trade negotiation, in the geopolitical sense, which the tangle efforts needs to be sought out. So I think BC, maybe the global trends already start to reflect this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And also the economics, there are early volatility of the markets that might hint a deeper structural change where, we must stay focused on the policies that will mitigate the risk. So there will be also in geopolitical, there will be confusion and tension in alliances. Because right now, Trump is in power, and then also he will also, make some policy which the other big country, China, might not like it as well. So there will be, sort of a tension as well. The two of the biggest nation or the two of the most powerful nation now globally. Okay. So the technology, there will be, competing technology advancement, which might create more of a complex landscape. With clear, so that's why, but the words is that to advise on clear forecast on ethical and beneficial, innovation that will yield success. Okay, so that means what we do as a human now is that although there are many technological advances, we must also, learn how to focus which are the tools that we need to use for, our own benefits, the innovation that yield the success that we want as well. Okay. Yeah. So I think over to you, PC.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just share my screen.
Yeah, okay. I will stop sharing. I already made you a co-host, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. Okay, so we come up with a number of predictions, but two of it was slightly off. So we forecast US will have high inflation, which happened, and we said that big ticket item sale will be affected, but it did not happen. So it continued as existing home sales and auto sales both saw an increase. Okay, so this could be due to several factors. Number one is that because there are a lot of homes that are for sale and some of it are being discounted. And I believe that in our December or November forecast, we did highlight that the median price of homes are actually falling. So that could be the reason why people are snatching homes, because the price have fallen slightly. And also because of the spike in interest rate, which maybe make people panic that they better buy now before the interest rate goes up even higher. So that could be the reasons why. Now, the other thing is that China, we said that the retail sales could see much higher statistics because of the record-breaking sale during Double 11, but it did not happen. Retail sales grew only 3% in November versus 4.8% in October. So these are the two things that we are off. But where we got right, in US, we said that there's no way that the US debt will trend lower. And today, it has gone up to 36.27 trillion. Now, the thing right now is that every 1 month, the US would add between 300 to 350 billion dollars more in debt, which is why every 3 months, the debt will increase by 1 trillion. So that's how precarious the situation has become. And the Fed cut interest rate by 25 basis points, but they also forecasted that inflation will rise to 2.5% in 2025 compared to their earlier target of 2%. So this goes to show that the Fed is acknowledging that inflation will not come down to 2%. In fact, they say that it will only come down to 2% probably in 2027. So, of course, the investors did not like it, and they sold off their long-term, long-dated treasuries, causing the US Treasury yield to rise. And the Biden admin is right now stoking tension with Russia because they have allowed Ukraine to use long-range missiles to strike deep into Russia, and Russia has retaliated by bombing Ukraine's infrastructure. So we have seen huge escalation over this month alone, and with Ukraine targeting residential buildings in Russia, and Russia retaliated by striking Ukraine's infrastructure. And also, the Biden admin helped the collapse of Syria, okay, by having the terrorist groups align with Israel to attack Syria. So, but on the other side of it, Turkey also entered into Syria because they have tensions with the Kurds. So all this is actually, creating a tension situation in the Middle East, which they can then hand over to Trump. Okay, but before that, Biden admin also escalated the trade and tech war with China, so that when Trump sets in, it's like, he kena sabo, okay, because too many unfavorable conditions are being set on the geopolitical chessboard, and Trump then would have to have to come up with solutions how to overcome each of these challenges. So in a way that, whenever one president is coming in and one going out, you can always see that the previous admin would always want to create a tough condition for the next admin so that they will not get re-elected. And somehow, it's no longer about the country, but it's more about how to gain political mileage. And that's a very sad thing to see happening in the US. So then we also said that the stock market will be choppy during the month of December. And this is how the S&P index month to date has performed. Okay, up, down, then severely down, then up again, and yesterday, it closed more than 66 points down. So we also mentioned that there could be some wild speculation in the stock and crypto markets. And indeed, the S&P reached a new record high of 6,090 points on 6th of December. And total crypto market cap reached a new record high of, this should not be trillion. Okay, it should be here. Yeah, 3.8 trillion on 9th of December. So even the crypto market reached a new record high. But we also warn of volatility in the crypto market. So you can see that after reaching a peak here, it came down, then it reached another peak, and subsequently it goes down. And right now it's trending down again. So in Europe, we forecasted that Europe economy will remain in the doldrums due to resurgent inflation, massive layoffs, and continual destruction of its primary industries. So if you look at the EU business confidence over the past 1 year, it has always been in negative territory. And Germany's economic malaise have resulted in the dissolution of Scholz's government. And we highlighted that France bonds could see higher risk. And right now, the 5-year CDS, or credit default swap, is now at 38.93, and it is up 14.63% in a month. And we mentioned that the UK could face funding issues, and true enough, the BOE, or Bank of England, will no longer name recipients of its bailout. So it's like how, last time, a few months back, we say that UK pension fund could face crisis, the NHS could could feel funding issues and all those government agencies. And we talk about several cities have already been declared bankrupt. So right now, the BOE or Bank of England will bail out those failing agencies, but they will not disclose who they are. So it's all hidden, okay? And we talk about freedom of information, okay, from these so-called Western nations. So in China, China trade surplus continued to grow as we predicted, and China's trade surplus reached 6.29 trillion or 881 billion US dollar from January to November. This is higher than the entire year of 2023 of 821 billion. And the decline in prices of commercial residential homes in China's 70 large and medium-sized cities narrowed on a year-on-year basis in November, as we mentioned. And in the first-tier cities, new home prices dropped 4.3%, narrowing by 0.3 percentage point from October. Second-hand home prices in first-tier cities went down 8% in November, 1.6 percentage point narrower than the decline in October. For the 31 second-tier and 35 third-tier cities across the country, data also showed narrower drops in both new and second-hand home prices in November. So the real estate crisis in China is still, trudging along, okay? And the recovery has been somewhat slow. And we did mention that China is right now more assertive, and these are some of the things that China is right now challenging the US. Here they are accusing the US, as being a warmongering country and a threat to global security. So then Xi also wants US against a trade war. And meanwhile, China is making preparations for a Trump trade war. The central government is considering issuing bonds to a tune of 3 trillion renminbi or 441 billion US dollar in 2025 to stimulate the economy. And China has started to impose restriction on the sale of key minerals to the US. So this is because US keep on selling weapons to Taiwan, and China right now is targeting the US military industrial complex because a lot of these minerals are also being used in the construction of military equipment as well as weaponry. So let's look at the US economic indicators. Now, GDP was revised higher for Q3 to 3.1%. And CPI rose 0.3% month-on-month in November. Year-on-year, it grew 2.7%, up from 2.6% in October. So we were always hoping that the Fed would lose control of the inflation. And true enough, right now, inflation has become resurgent. So core CPI rose 0.3% month-on-month in November. Year-on-year, it rose 3.3%, unchanged from October. PPI rose 0.4% month-on-month in November. Year-on-year, it gained 3%, up from 2.4% in October. Retail sales rose 0.7% month-on-month in November. Year-on-year, it gained 3.8%. Net retail sales less CPI was 1.1%. And the rise in retail sales was primarily driven by auto sales. Now, not only that, later on, I will show you a chart that credit card debt has actually gone up to a new record high. So despite the tough economic situation, people continue to splurge using their credit card, and credit card debt has now reached a new record high. Not only that, personal loan as well, and therefore the US household are actually facing record high in terms of household debt. So industrial production fell 0.1% month-on-month in November. Year-on-year, it fell 0.9%, down from 0.4% in October. So NAHB index came in at 46 in December, unchanged from November. Now that is the index for the National Association of Home Builders. That means that the housing industry is facing contraction. Housing starts fell 1.8% month-on-month in November, while housing permits rose 6.1%.
In a world where market trends are as mysterious as the stars, investors seek clarity beyond the chaos. Meet Evelyn Tan, a Chinese astrologist, and her co-founder, Wong, an investment guru, where ancient wisdom meets modern market trend research. Experience investment forecasting refined by Chinese astrology. Join top investors who trust their precise insights for their most crucial decisions. Ready to transform your investments? Join now for exclusive insights and forecasts brought to you by Astrology and Global Trends.
Existing home sales rose 4.8% month-on-month in November. Year-on-year, it rose 6.1%. So as I mentioned, because there were some discounts in the housing market and people are buying existing homes at a much cheaper price. And new home sales rose 5.9% month-on-month in November. Year-on-year, it rose 8.7%. So of course, because of the affordability level, have actually gone down, and a lot of property developers are facing rather large inventory because less and less people can afford to buy new homes. So what they do, they create incentive to attract home buyers, and that is why new home sales also rise accordingly. Okay, as I mentioned, those people who are buying a home could be fearful of subsequent rise in interest rate. So because of the yield for the US Treasuries have gone up, so they are afraid that interest rate may have to go up at some point in time. So they quickly lock in their purchase. So durable goods orders fell 1.1% in November. Year-on-year, it fell 6.3%. So obviously, if you look at it, the US industries are actually facing a lot of headwinds. And that is also in line with the huge job loss in the manufacturing sector. And why the US job reports continue to show gains is because all these full-time manufacturing jobs are being replaced by multiple part-time jobs. So October preliminary PMI for manufacturing came in at 48.3, which is a contraction, while PMI for services came in at 58.5, which is an expansion. So unemployment rate is 4.2%. The Conference Board Leading Economic Index, or LEI, rose 0.3% month-on-month in November, following a negative 0.4% decline in October. Over the 6-month period between May and November 2024, the LEI fell by 1.6%, slightly more than its 1.9% decline over the previous 6-month period from November 2023 to May 2024. So here with this gain in the LEI, the Conference Board is saying that there is no significant signs that there's going to be a coming recession. But for those who actually read our book for the year 2025, I actually said that the US actually was already in recession, only thing that it's not felt across the entire economic sectors, but a significant number of the sectors have felt a recession. Okay, and that why there's still positive growth, because it's all driven through debt. Okay, the debt actually have increased much faster than the GDP increase. So with all the government debt that is put into the market, it gives rise to speculation and such, and give the belief that the country is no longer facing a recession. Rather, I think that recession has already passed, but potentially is moving towards a stagflation. Now, the CRE crisis is worthwhile revisiting because of new developments. Right now, the office vacancy rate in the US have moved above 20%, the highest level in history. And that is from research done by Charlie Bilello. So you can see right now, it has surpassed the aftermath of the global financial crisis and the aftermath of COVID. So right now, this is already showing you that particular sector is collapsing, okay? And according to Unicus research, US banks owner-occupied CRE delinquencies have increased in Q3 2024. The number of banks on the FDIC problem bank list have increased. So you can see that it's all trending up right now. The amount of CRE loans that come due is expected to grow to nearly 998 billion in 2025, 1.15 trillion in 2026, and a peak of 1.257 trillion in 2027, before falling back to 1.14 trillion in 2028. So over the next 4 years, we can safely say that this is almost a trillion. Okay, there are more than 4 trillions of CRE loans that will become due just as vacancy is shooting up and buildings are being sold at a hefty discount. Okay, so these are an ongoing problem, and it will come to haunt the US economy. So here, FIDC said that the number of banks on the FIDC problem list continues to rise, and the number of banks on the list increased by 2 in the third quarter to 68 banks, while total assets held by problem banks increased 3.9 billion to 87.3 billion. You can see that these are all the assets of troubled banks. Okay, so we have not reached the stage here during the implosion of the real estate market, but we are seeing gradual trend going up. Okay, so I think it won't immediately spike up like what happened here, but I think it will be gradual. Okay, and it will hit sometime maybe later in 2025. So then, even the consumers are facing some problem. They are having record credit card debt amid record high default. Okay, so here, credit card debt has reached a new record high of 1.14 trillion, and credit card defaults right now is at record levels, much higher than those during the global financial crisis and during the dot-com bubble and also during the pandemic. Okay, so meanwhile, there is a new record high in homelessness, up 18% from a year ago, because a lot of the households are saddled with debt. They cannot pay up their mortgages, so they have been kicked out of their homes. And the other thing is that property taxes in some states continue to rise, even though they have paid off their entire mortgage, but because of the high increase in the property taxes, which is charged every year, a lot of people decided that they cannot afford to stay in their home anymore. So US right now have record high number in terms of homelessness. And January will be very interesting because Janet Yellen says that the US government will run out of funds by mid-January. And interesting, okay, here 0H pointed out that as the Fed cuts 100 basis point, the 10-year US Treasury yield has spiked 100 basis point. Okay, so we are seeing a huge diversion between the Fed's funds rate and the 10-year Treasury yield. This goes to show that the market is not trusting the Fed, but at the end of it is higher the yield, higher the borrowing cost. And because of the long-term yield has been going up, the US Treasury has been refinancing its debt by using short-term bills, which means 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, less than a year type of bills. Okay, but short-term bills actually carry a much higher interest. So today I just sort of glanced an article written by Luke Groman, who actually said that the US is actually financing its debt at an increment of 100% interest payment versus a year ago. You know, somewhere to that extent. So that means that the interest payment on that will continue to escalate. And that means that the US government under Trump admin will face tremendous challenges, because if you recall, Trump said that he will cut taxes. That means that income through taxes will actually reduce. So when you have reduction in income, but then you have higher interest payment, then a lot of the spending would need to be issued via debt, okay, because the income is not enough to offset the amount of spending. And unless Musk and Vivek, through their Department of Government Efficiency, decides to cut a lot of spending, then perhaps they can actually narrow down the deficit. But it is a tough job to sell, because a lot of the people, the politicians in Congress, they actually have factories, okay, that are, especially the MIC, military industrial complex, they have factories within their specific district or states. So if, let's say, they say that they should cut military spending, then, you know, the MIC would tell the politicians, hey, we have to close down the factory because we do not have enough funds to manage the factory, because because the US government have cut its budget. So then, you know, whatever that the Department of Government Efficiency will propose, I think they will have a lot of negative feedback, and it's not so easy to do. Okay, so there'll be a lot of people that will be against any cutting of expenditure. So it will be a tough challenge. So what could happen in January? I think everyone, all ears will be on what Trump will announce upon his inauguration. Governments will react accordingly to what he says and does, and this is what it means by following the flow. And the market will respond accordingly as well. Now, there could be anticipation ahead of his inauguration, which will be positive for the market, but mid-January could see a negative reaction as government runs out of funds. So just now, Evelyn said that there'll be some ups and downs with the flow. So Trump will try to give the market assurance to make things happen, and he does not want the market to start on the wrong foot even before he is sworn in. So I think Trump will try to boost confidence in the market. Okay, so the Fed, without addressing the government's high borrowing costs and the CRE crisis waiting to explode on all fronts, will force itself into a corner. Okay, I believe that Trump will pressure the Treasury Department and the Fed into action, because he wants to cut taxes. But then, okay, because he emphasized on being business friendly. So cutting taxes for corporations and households will be one of his priorities. So if he pushed forward with that, it will be dollar bearish, but it will be good for commodities, precious metals, and stocks. On the other hand, if the market still do not like the story, what will happen is that the US Treasury yield will go up because they anticipate higher inflation. Now that could cause a reversal where the dollar will actually go up. Okay, if US Treasury yield spike. And then this would put the Fed in a conundrum because, again, any spike in US Treasury will increase borrowing costs. And I think Trump will want to bring down the borrowing costs. So he could be pressuring the Fed, and Treasury Department will also be pressuring the Fed until such time. I think we cannot rule out the possibility of QE further down the line. Now, the other thing that Trump says a lot about using Bitcoin as a reserve, but we need to keep in mind that printing dollars to buy Bitcoin will be bearish for the dollar. And that is the only way that Bitcoin will appreciate in price. So, Europe economic indicators. Now, Euro area CPI came in at 2.2% year-on-year in November, up from 2% in October. UK CPI came in at 2.6% year-on-year in November, up 2.3%, up from 2.3% in October. So
Okay,
here we see, yeah.
PC, I would like to caution about Bitcoins now, okay, for all those people. That's all I can say. So our members will know more about it, about, the trends and everything. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, right now, there's a lot of people having their own speculation, and also just be careful. Not everyone is correct. Sometimes I see certain news that they say, oh, this is going to happen. Then someone further down, this is already old news. It was in, like 2 years ago and so forth. So we need to be very careful. Okay. The more people hike, okay, then there could be more urgency for people to want to sell. Okay. So Euro area retail sales came in at 1.9% year-on-year in October, down from 3% in September, which is revised down. UK retail sales came in at 0.5% year-on-year in November, down from 2% in September, which was revised. German manufacturing PMI came in at 42.5 in December versus 43 in November, while services PMI came in at 51 versus 49.3 a month ago. So on one hand, we see that manufacturing in Europe continue to deteriorate, but services is just hanging there. Okay, sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, fluctuating between expansion and contraction. France manufacturing PMI came in at 41.9 in December versus 43.1 in November, while services PMI came in at 48.2 versus 46.9 a month ago. UK manufacturing PMI came in at 47.3 in December versus 48 in November, while services PMI came in at 51.4 versus 50.8 a month ago. So you can see that Germany, France, and UK, the three biggest economy in Europe, is seeing the continual destruction of their industrial base as reflected by their shrinking PMIs for manufacturing. So what could happen in Europe in January? Europe is expected to have a harsh winter in 2024 to 2025 due to the La Nina phenomenon and a weakened polar vortex. So La Nina weather is an event that typically brings colder, wetter conditions to Europe. And natural gas has risen 6.3% month to date in December and could rise further in January due to supply disruption. And that will cause inflation in Europe to remain lofty.
Yeah, this one is in a line. The weather is really in a line with the chart itself. That a lot of earth means wet condition.
Yeah.
Cold and wet.
So the high energy costs will impact manufacturing, and we could see further erosion of Europe's manufacturing. Germany, France, and the UK could see extended political turmoil. Now, last month we said that people are signing petition to have Starmer announce a new elections. Okay, and France also have a political impasse because of the too many parties inside it are fighting for power. And Germany recently have a dissolution of parliament. So we can see a lot of political turmoil in these three countries. And anti-immigrant sentiment will be on the rise again, especially after the tragic incident in Germany. ECB and BOE will likely panic into another monetary easing cycle. The BOE's choice of not naming recipients is already very telling on the economic situation in the UK. So again, you know, like the ECB and BOE would dictate how the economy will be through their monetary policy. And this is also another reason why you know, people will be watching in earnest what the leading central banks would do. So over in China, CPI rose 0.2% year-on-year in November, down from 0.3% in October. Core CPI rose 0.3% year-on-year in November, up from 0.2% in October. PPI came in at negative 2.5% year-on-year in November, up from negative 2.9% in October. So China is still facing very low price environment. Some people say that China is in a deflation cycle, and some argue that what's so bad about low prices? Okay, because if you let the inflation genie out of the bottle, there is no way you can actually cap it back in without higher interest rate. So one writer wrote, which I think she's quite correct, that one of the key things why China doesn't see huge inflation, okay, even though the government right now is printing earnestly to stimulate the economy, is because a lot of the consumers are spending domestically, okay? They consume domestic products, which due to China's manufacturing capacity have made products very affordable. And previously, when I did a study on luxurious goods out of Europe, especially from LVMH, as well as Swatch Group, shows that their business is actually coming down, okay? Because previously, you have a lot of Chinese flying overseas to buy in Europe or buying from US, but right now, they are no longer traveling overseas to buy. You know, they are spending it locally and buying domestic products. And that is in line with their projection that the luxury goods sales in China has actually fallen. So that goes to show that the Chinese people are preferring to buy local. And not only that, the manufacturing capacity have expanded so much that, you know, the price, the cost per piece of goods have actually been greatly reduced. So this is actually beneficial to the consumer. And China, you know, grain output have reached a new record high, but they are also buying grains from overseas as well. So that actually helped to lower the price of food as well. And that's why prices, you know, in China has remained very tight range, okay, with slight inflation. But people often mistaken it as deflation, okay? Nevertheless, if let's say there is a deflation, you know, that will go into depression, that is when retail sales will actually go into negative territory, okay? So retail sales still climbed 3% year-on-year in November, but it is down 4.8% in October. So industrial production went up 5.4% year-on-year in November, up from 5.3% in October. Fixed asset investment went up 3.3% year-on-year from January to November, down from 3.4% from the period from January to October. So China posted a trade surplus of 97.44 billion US dollar. In November compared to 95.27 billion in October, the equivalent of a 2.3% increase. So even though China's trade with US has actually come down, yeah, but China continued to expand its export massively to the global south. So that results in its trade surplus continuing to grow much bigger. And China's unemployment rate was 5% in November. Now here, the decline of China real estate is just, a repeat of the earlier section, but I would like to share with you an interesting chart, okay, that this was during the announcement of major stimulus to help the real estate industry by reducing the LPR, or the loan prime rate, and then it gives a certain boost that how new home sales actually spike up into positive territory. But in November, it declined. Now, this is a very important band. If, let's say, in December, the housing, new home sales actually fall below this band, then that means that the government may need to provide even more stimulus to stimulate the real estate growth. But right now, it is hovering close to zero, which means that they may have to wait longer to see over a much longer period in which direction it will fluctuate to. And China electricity consumption, a key barometer of economic activity, rose 7.1% year-on-year in the first 11 months of the year. During the period, power consumption of the country's primary industries increased 6.8% year-on-year, while that of the secondary and tertiary sectors rose 5.3% and 10.4% respectively. Residential power usage saw strong growth of 11.6% during this period. In November alone, power usage climbed 2.8%. So sometimes people would like to say that, well, even though China's economy GDP is 5%, or right now it's expecting to be about 4.8 or 4.9%, but if we take into power consumption as a definitive support for the GDP, then there's every reason to believe that China's GDP could be much higher. But as I mentioned last time, China actually used its GDP calculation based on products, and a number of services are actually excluded as being part of the GDP. Of course, if we include services like rental, okay, or like lawyer fees, medical fees, then of course the GDP could be much higher. But China just focused on the gross domestic products, okay? Unlike the service-orientated economies or consumption-based economy, in the US, rental is considered part of the GDP. So as much as brokerage fees, insurance fees, lawyers fees, medical fees, because their manufacturing base is much lower. So actually it depends on how each country interprets it. And that is why the IMF often use the PPP, which is the purchasing power parity. Now, if the IMF use comparison in terms of purchasing power parity, China's economy is much larger than the US, around the region of 25 to 30% higher. So, Chinese policy going into 2025. China's finance ministry vowed to step up fiscal spending and government bond issuance in 2025. During the Central Economic Work Conference, policymakers decided to implement a moderately loose monetary policy in 2025, a significant departure from the prudent policy of the past 14 years. So moderately loose means it will be loose, okay? It's just that they try to sound a bit conservative, but at the kind of policies that are continually being revised and implemented, we will definitely see more and more stimulus being added to the economy. The country has set a higher deficit to GDP ratio in 2025 and increased the intensity of fiscal spending. Focus on improving people's well-being, promoting consumption, and sustaining growth momentum. Now, when promoting consumption, right now, we can already see how it impacts on two major industries. Number one is the electric vehicles. Okay, there's a massive trade-in program, and a lot of the electric vehicles manufacturers are seeing increment in their sales and volume sold. And the other is consumer electronics. And those Chinese consumer electronics companies have been doing pretty well as well. One of the key one that we often discuss is actually Xiaomi. Okay, and in terms of EVs is BYD. Okay, which has seen its expansion not only in terms of domestic market but the export market as well. And speculation that the PBOC would cut the RRR further to free up capital. RRR means the reserve requirement ratio. Okay, so existing policy already in place to help the real estate market. Unlikely the government will promote real estate speculation. The objective is to make home affordable for the people. So whatever support that will come into the real estate is how to transition it to make it more affordable for people, so that more people will buy properties to stay and not invest for speculation. So what could happen in January? NEV sales will continue to gain traction as its share of the auto market accelerate higher with the ongoing trade-in program. Consumption of electronics will continue to benefit under the government's policy to boost consumption via trade-in. China's technological development will accelerate higher due to government support to promote smart and high-end manufacturing, smart and high-end equipment manufacturing, and artificial intelligence. So just a comparison, okay? Here, an analyst in AI praises DeepSeek version 3 Frontier LLM, which is trained on a 6 million budget. Now we comparatively, it costs 78 million to train OpenAI's GPT-4, or the estimated 500 million per run to train OpenAI's GPT-5. So you can see that a lot of money in the US for the AI, you do not know whether it's being spent wisely or is it very wasteful, but China is able to do it at 6 million. So that is why, you know, in a race to AI, sometimes efficiency matters, okay? And if I want to look at cost, okay, ChatGPT has not even, OpenAI has not even started making money, but their market cap is already close to 150 billion. That was early this month, okay, which I checked. So you can see that a lot of money is being put in, okay, in a so-called unicorn, but you do not know whether the money is well spent or not. On the other side of the ASO, okay, DeepSeek, which is run by China, one of the startup in China, is still a private company. Okay, it's not been IPO yet. You know, they can do it for $6 million. So that goes to show that the cost efficiency level will eventually help to propel the technology much higher, because there's no waste, there's no wastage, or even there is very minimal. Okay, and this could actually, in the long run, determine who will be the leader. So China will be watching Trump's inauguration closely and will retaliate accordingly, depending on what he said. And China will find it difficult to achieve 5% GDP growth for 2024 after the hiccup in Q3, because Q3 was actually below expectation. So whether China will achieve 5% or not will be a challenge, because retail sales in November dropped quite drastically. Therefore, we can assume that China will be very aggressive with stimulus in 2025, and Chinese stock market will respond positively to more stimulus. Don't be surprised if China add more to the sanction list with regard to exporting of goods to the US, especially with regard to materials, goods, or minerals that have dual purposes, for example, commercial as well as military. So China have been actively buying gold and silver, even directly from miners, and this could cause supply disruption in the future. You can see that China is not aggressively trying to beat the price of gold higher and leave it to the COMEX and LBMA to, to manipulate the price lower, but China will actually continue to buy, okay, from the miners at a reasonable price, because no matter what, they can offer a much higher price for the miners and the miners will agree, rather than the miners rely on the COMEX to, which is subject to manipulation, okay, to dictate what the price of gold or silver would be. Okay, now the amount of silver that China uses will continue to go up very high, because China's you can say fascination, okay, to really expand its solar power. And right now, only a higher content of silver can make the photovoltaic panels more efficient, okay, which means able to generate more power per panel by adding more silver into the panel. And in terms of geopolitics, recently Trump created much furore when he tweeted that the US should take back the Panama Canal. Canada should be annexed and made a state, and Denmark should sell Greenland to the US. So everyone was, what is he, is he out of his mind? Okay, but you know that Trump likes to test certain things and he'll just blurt it out, okay, to see reaction. And sometimes it put pressure on other people as well. So he also tweeted that the US military could make an incursion into Mexico and wage war against the drug cartels. This led many political analysts to surmise that the Trump admin would consolidate its sphere of influence in North and South America and move away from Europe. It has more to do with consolidating the US hold on critical minerals, which are found in abundance in North and South America and Greenland. Trump has hinted that the US may move out of NATO unless Europe commits to a higher military spending. And I doubt the US could move out of NATO because the MIC has too much vested interest in it. So, for all he says, just want to push Europe to spend more to buy US weapons. Okay, so I doubt he will actually move out of NATO. Now, on the other side of the geopolitical sphere, the war in Ukraine will intensify as Russia gains more territories and NATO panics. You can see right now, there are more and more stories of NATO troops being involved, okay, directly in Ukraine. And that is, they are part of the people that would gather intelligence or, linking up with the long-range missile strikes into Russia and such. So Maidan 2.0 is now unfolding in Georgia. For those who do not know what is Maidan, Maidan was the revolution that started in Ukraine, instigated by the CIA to cause the overthrow of an elected government in Ukraine, which subsequently led to the founding of the current Ukraine government. And civil war in Syria will erupt in intensity as factions fight to gain territories. So, as I mentioned earlier, the Turkish government or Turkey government, okay, wants to prevent the Kurds from terrorizing Turkey, okay, and therefore they are waging a war against the Kurds. But the Kurds are also allies to the US. And right now, Israel, through their fractions of the Al-Qaeda and ISIS, they are also waging, they have actually become the government of the current Syrian government, okay? But there are still remnants of Abbas Syria Defense Force, which are currently waging war against the other fractions. So Syria will be like Libya, okay? The country will be in total collapse. War will continue indefinitely, okay? So this is very sad to see. So BRICS will add 9 partner countries in January 2025 after admitting 4 new members in 2024. It now makes up roughly half the global population and more than 41% of world GDP by PPP. This collective group will be an economic powerhouse with top producers of key commodities like oil, gas, grains, meat, and minerals. The 9 countries are Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Thailand, Uganda, and Uzbekistan. So the convergence of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand into BRICS is very significant, okay? Because these are one of the few top economies in ASEAN. So I think there will be more trade going on among ASEAN members themselves, because once you are in the BRICS, you can freely trade using local currencies and with the other external market. You know, like being part of the BRICS, if Malaysia, let's say, deal in local currencies, Malaysia can have access to markets that previously are inaccessible to. Okay, because if you use US dollar, you know, the US government will pinpoint where the US dollar is being flowed to. But if you use local currencies, you know, we can see Malaysia participating in the development of, let's say, some oil and gas projects in Iran or even in Venezuela. Okay, so because it's not being tracked by US dollar, so it actually opens a lot of opportunity. And we all know that the US and European European countries are facing stagnation or decline, especially in Europe. So their purchasing power will gradually reduce, and that is very important for countries in ASEAN to look for newer markets.
Exciting news! We've just released the 2025 Wood Snake Year Astrology and Global Trends Forecast. This is your ultimate guide to navigating the complex year ahead. Inside, you'll discover powerful insights on global economic, geopolitical, and financial trends, helping you make smart, informed decisions. Whether you're looking to capitalize on new opportunities or protect your investments, this book has got you covered. Ready to get a head start on 2025? Click the link below to download a free chapter now. Want the book for free? Here's how. Join our membership at the comprehensive or premium level, and you'll receive the 2025 forecast as a complimentary gift. Simply purchase the book using the link provided, then submit your receipt to offset the 50 ringgit membership fee. With membership, you'll not only get the book, but also enjoy early monthly forecast full recordings, presentation slides, exclusive talks on astrology and trends, and much more. Choose your plan and start your journey toward financial foresight. Buying the book is simple. Just head over to our ebook store link, add the book to your cart, and complete your purchase. Be sure to save your receipt, as you'll need it to apply for your membership fee discount. Take the first step toward a successful 2025 by securing your copy today. Ready to join our astrology and global trends community? Complete your membership registration using the link below. Attach your book purchase receipt if you're claiming the 50 ringgit discount, and unlock access to our exclusive resources and forecasts. Let's make 2025 your most prosperous year yet. As a premium member, you'll receive our detailed weekly report, a 10-page package packed with valuable market insights, precious metals updates, and global news analysis. Plus, you'll get strategic Ximen directions every week to enhance your planning and decision-making. This report is designed to give you the edge in today's fast-changing world. Don't just take our word for it. See what our members have to say. Their feedback highlights the value and impact of our astrology and global trends forecasts. Join our community and experience these benefits firsthand. With insights that empower, you'll gain clarity and confidence for the year ahead.
So, which means trading among global South nations has become ever more important. And meanwhile, China unleashed its 6th generation aircraft, which they actually showed two that were being tested, and their largest and its largest amphibious vessel with electromagnetic catapult to launch UAVs and a Y-20-based early warning aircraft, all on the same day. So China, in showcasing its military advancement, is indirectly, telling its telling the US and other countries that it is fast expanding its military capabilities. So Evelyn, back to you.
Okay, let me just share my screen for a while. Before we go to the summary of tonight's January forecast, let's go through, on what is available. We want to introduce a bit about our book for those who are new to us. So we have a 2025 Astrology and Global Trends forecast book itself on what to expect on the global trends of geopolitical, economic, and financial trends, which helps you to capitalize on the opportunities and mitigate threats to your investment. And we have used, same as what we have done tonight, that we have used dual forecasting approaches to do in-depth analysis of each sector's relation to 5 elements, investment opportunities that you can uncover, and also the challenges. You can download a free chapter, which I think PC has already put in the Zoom chat, okay, for those who have not done so. And if you are interested to get this book for free, you are welcome to join us with this special price, okay, that the starter price will be at $149, which is early access to the monthly forecast full recording, presentations, and 2025 Astrology and Global Trends talk. If for comprehensive package, you have all this together with the book itself, okay, and also the Telegram group. I also give you some manifestation direction for the month as well. And for comprehensive, for premium, we, on top of all the comprehensive items that you will get a monthly market insights report, a weekly 3-week Qimen direction for those who are familiar with what is Qimen. If you are not, it's okay. I will work it out for you. I explained already how to use it. And also a daily Qimen deity as well. So all this, for starter, you can start from $149 per year. For comprehensive, it's $209 per year. If you bring a friend, it's $179. And then for premium, it's $329 per year. You bring a friend with a discount for you to $299 per year. So the actual payment is that you have to buy the book from our appointed bookstores, and then we use this book to rebate on the membership. That means from $209, you will pay $159. From $329, you will pay $279. And we will have a welcome gift for until this January only. We have welcome gift for all the members, comprehensive and premium package of the list of the high dividend yield share. I think some dividend, they yield more than at least 6%, right? In the list.
Some even more than 10%.
Some even more than 10%. So it's based on our research.
Yeah. For our weekly report, I think some members can readily attest to normally certain section I will actually put some comment on what are some stocks that you can also observe. Okay, like the previous one, when we talk about tourism industry in China, we also highlighted what are the sectors that are related to tourism, okay, or the low altitude economy, which company you know that you can actually look into, but do your own due diligence. Yeah.
Okay, it's just based on our research, as we say. So we have run these memberships for the last 3 years, since 2023, and we already have quite strong following, which most of them, has already, some of them, I think they already gained back more than what they have paid for the membership fees itself. Even the gold alone, I think, is already more than what you all have paid for. Okay. And some members stated that they learn how to diversify into their investment portfolio by following us as well. Okay, so I think PC has already dropped the membership enrollment form in the Telegram. What you need to do is that you can download the free chapter here, and then after that, you can actually buy the book, the link that we put in, and then enroll as a member. So for further inquiries, maybe you can also email to us, okay, or I will send you an email later on. And okay, so this is the membership that you can start. First of all, you make a payment for the membership with all those links we have, and then after that you can choose you buy the book and then upload the receipts, and then you make the payment, and then you capture the thank you page, and also attaching to the enrollment form. And after that, you just enroll accordingly, and we will capture and send you a confirmation email. So this is the weekly report. I think right now we are charging 120 or actually quite minimum fees, right? For weekly, report options that talk about the market insights and also precious metals overview, okay? And, this is what it looks like, a sample of the whole thing, okay? And also this is the Chiman Palace, which I also teach y'all how to use, means that y'all can dispel negative energy, receive positive energy, make wishes according to the specific energy direction that is aligned to your birth chart. Okay, so that it will be even more effective in your manifestation, in aligning, in priming yourself. Okay, to dispose of the negative energy before you can manifest for anything. First of all, your energy, those noise, those negative energy has to be purged out. Okay, so and also a weekly direction deity for those that want things quite fast and they have sudden emergency, they can use the daily direction as well. Okay, so yeah, so this is my portion. That's those who are interested to do annual analysis of 2025. You can also enroll in the form here, and actually we have a special price for I just run a promotion until January 1st. For special price is 209 for annual analysis. And then if you want to get the year analysis for free, you can do the life energy analysis, which also I run a promotion at 509 until 1st of January 2025. Yeah, if you are interested. Okay, so I think let's go to the summary. For the summary, there will be a power struggles are expected, surprise, conflicts among leadership, and then the constraint in supply chain, following the leader approach aligning to dominant powers. And also we expect early volatility in the markets might hint a deeper structural change. Okay, especially in the year of maybe in the next 2 years. 2025 was set off for a big transformation. Okay, so I think that's it from my part. PC, would you like to go through your summary?
Trump's inauguration speech will be widely followed, and it will indicate which direction the US is heading into. So I think Trump would actually underplay, condemning Russia or China, because that is something he won't say in his inauguration speech, but he would probably lay out his policies for the US. So, but a lot of the trade war, tech war, or military conflicts, he will go along as he manages the government. So US will face funding problem again in mid-January, but like always, they will always say that, well, we will issue more debt. Okay, we will raise we will raise more debt to actually ensure that people will get paid, agencies will get to perform their work, and military will get their um, spending or budget met. Okay, but there will be political turmoil in Germany, France, and UK because of things that I've already mentioned. China 2025 policy will give insight into what is in store for its economy. I think there will be a National Party Congress in March. So I think before that, the policymakers would want to would probably want to hype the market a bit to show that things are still ongoing, because I think they want to avoid, being asked why is the economy still, struggling to achieve its 5% target. So they would want to actually move quickly into assuring that things are moving along. So military conflict will intensify in the usual hotspots because there are too many warring fractions, each with their own intention of who should hold power. Okay, so restriction on the sale of minerals will cause supply shortage, and not only that, I think people would start hoarding from what is available in the market, so that shortage would actually re-emphasize itself. Okay, so that it become worse. So and I think that there could potentially be some shortage in some key minerals, perhaps even silver, because the amount of paper silver is being sold is many times more than the annual production. But so far, as long as no people claim for delivery, the COMEX would try their best to not to allow silver to go up or the price of gold to go up, because they are heavily short. Okay, collectively, I think they are seeing a net paper loss of more than, for both metals, I think could be around $60 billion so far. So they would always want to manage the price lower, but then the lower the price, I think China would buy directly from elsewhere, so that it creates a supply issue eventually. So that's all. Maybe we go to the Q&A.
Okay, yeah. Any questions? For those, for those members, I'm sorry, for those that, looking for the membership enrollment form, I already posted in the Telegram, in the chat box here together with BC as well. Okay, and I think Jeremy has a questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
So
video.
Jeremy, So Jeremy's question is, what's the next big thing behind the rise of LLM development besides humanoid? Does LLM things may bring advantage to crypto? What is the event to pay attention to? Correct me if I'm confused to connect the wrong point. Okay, so I think LLM is gradually transforming not only in the ability to use AI in machines, okay, but also in a lot of service-orientated jobs. Okay, but right now, China is moving in two directions that is very focused on manufacturing as top priority, and while not neglecting, okay, in terms of service. And that's why you see that right now China is moving towards LLM into, let's say, directly text to video, those kind of things. So that is what is the attention so far. Now, whether it has anything to do with crypto, there's no news to link the two yet.
Yeah, no.
But I believe that gradually, as certain services or certain functions are tokenized, then I think there is probably, okay, tokens that will link to AI for specific jobs or description of functions or processes. We cannot rule that out because right now both are actually developing each on their own. And I think we will probably see more of this happening when collectively a lot of things are simultaneously being digitized. I believe that, for example, in terms of banks processes, there will be, if let's say one day bank decide to tokenize the processes, then the AI would be the thing to implement to, for example, to sift through all the transactions, okay, to flag, let's say, money laundering, all those things. Right now, AI is being used to sift through all transactions that are digitized, but it's not tokenized. So if one day transactions are tokenized, then the AI would then link to that tokenized system.
Yeah, tokenized in blockchain.
Yes. Then,
so it will be in the ecosystem, which will be very transparent.
Yes, so that would happen, okay? But right now, I think individually they are moving by themselves. But I believe that even in the crypto market right now, there are developers that are exploring ways to coordinate or even one day to merge their functions. So that means that some tokens will actually merge to all cooperate to deliver better efficiency or better user functions, so that it enables developers to scale up. So I think the digital world is moving at a very fast pace, and that's why we need to pay attention to it. The brick and mortar business will still be there. But then I think if you are looking at a faster escalation in terms of investment,
And
then I
sales.
think, yeah, and sales, it is the digital world. Okay.
Yes, that's right. Every brick and mortar business needs to have the technological function in it. And we are
Yeah.
talking about period 9, right? Those that follow us for some years already, we know that period 9 is about fire. Even in our book, Unlock Your Wealth Potential, we talk about period 9. The fire period technology is fire. Everything is fast. So that is why, everything has to be transformed.
Yeah, I remember when I was writing the technology segment for Unlock Your Wealth Potential, I was talking about SMIC being able to scale up its operations because of its if they cannot develop the chips into smaller size, let's say 5 nanometer or 2 nanometer, they will be able to scale up in terms of processors. Okay, and that is what SMIC is doing right now with Huawei. Okay, they changed the way that the processors are done. Okay, the better, originally, of course, the yield wasn't so good, but the better they become at it. Okay, and Huawei actually have huge patents in terms of packaging and processors, which means that they are thought of new ways. So the better they become, and the yield will gradually increase. So and not surprising at all, the book was last year, okay, and this year, SMIC shares actually went up to more than 30. When I was writing the book, I think it was hovering around slightly below 20 or slightly above 20. So it goes to show that technology will advance at a very fast pace. While we talk about AI in a lot of work processes, but right now AI, is already, we will reach a stage at some point when people would pay celebrities for their privilege to use their features, but then they may not be paid to act in a movie, okay? Because, it's all being done directly from script to video. We may reach a stage like that. We don't know.
Yeah, we
Okay.
are going to reach that stage very, very soon. Actually, it's now already, we can convert photos into videos. There are many platforms that can do that now.
Yeah. For example, you say about AI agent. So right now, believe it or not, one of the companies with the highest AI application patents, is actually an insurance company. Okay, so that insurance company, Ping An Insurance, has multiple AI agents to serve their clients. Okay, and they are one of the leading companies with AI in the world, and that is how it has become. Okay.
Yeah, even insurance companies transform. They will have the technology elements in their business.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. So technology means that the fire element. I suspect they already know period 9. That's why they already started to incorporate all this in. And maybe for the last 20 years, all this has already been blocked behind scenes without us knowing, okay? Without a very big, huge media propaganda. And today it become where they are. So and this is, I think, what's happening in China. Okay.
Yeah,
So
in terms of AI, I think very early into this year, I talked about Palantir. Anyone bought that stock?
yeah, especially our members.
Okay, at that time it was just about hovering in the 20s. So Palantir is